Did you hear glass shattering here? That was how it all began. Martin stood in the hallway of a dimly lit floor in the new building he had just started working in. The air felt dense, as if the walls were whispering remnants of stories from some bygone era. He glanced at his reflection in a tall window overlooking a desolate street, swallowed by torrential rain. In that fleeting moment, he glimpsed a figure in the reflection, a silhouette bending over his desk. He turned around swiftly but saw no one, the silence enveloping the space. When he cautiously made his way to his office, he was shocked to find his papers scattered across the desk. The framed certificate congratulating him on his recent promotion, earned just a couple of days ago, was lying there with its glass shattered and its frame broken. Below the picture was a cryptic inscription: "You've ventured too close to the light." His breath caught in his throat. He felt sure that this was no mere accident, and that these words would come back to haunt him in more unsettling ways. He was weighed down by questions. Who broke the frame? And how did this strange message end up here? A short while later, he met his old friends Jonah and Oliver at a small cafe on a side street. The rain was still pouring, and the atmosphere crackled with a hidden electricity, as if storm clouds were concealing something larger. Jonah asked him, with a mix of curiosity and concern, about the rumored vandalism in his office. Martin recounted the bizarre inscription he had found, unsure if he was imagining the unease in his friends' eyes. He noticed their looks had subtly changed after his recent promotion. He found himself asking inwardly, are they genuinely worried about me? Or is there another motive behind their questions? Later that same evening, as he roamed the near, empty corridors of the building, Martin noticed a flicker of light on an old monitor typically used for safety announcements. He approached warily and saw ominous words suddenly flash against a black screen. "They'll applaud you only as long as you remain under a certain ceiling. Don't cross it." The screen then went dark. Unsure if this was a technical glitch or a deliberate hack, Martin remembered the words etched on his desk and the celebratory mood from his promotion. Did it all connect somehow? He wondered. Is someone warning me or threatening me? Is it a covered ally or a hidden foe? The next morning, Martin arrived at his office to find his computer turned off, even though he had left it running. When he powered it up, a stark message flared briefly on a black background. "Your friends will help you rise, but they don't want you above them." It vanished before he could grab his phone to take a picture. His pulse quickened. He recalled hearing a similar sentiment before. Success is wonderful, but some people don't want you to surpass them. He felt a growing heaviness in his chest, as if trapped in some psychological game whose rules were hidden from him. Soon after, he ran into Jonah and Oliver again in the hallway. Jonah mentioned that management was keeping an eye on Martin's every move. "Where there's smoke, there's fire," he said. Meanwhile, Oliver advised him not to extend his responsibilities too far, urging him to stay within your limits. The warnings sounded eerily like the messages that had appeared on the screens. Martin thought, are they involved or just repeating rumors? Jonah's friendly smile concealed a hint of condescension, while Oliver was more silent than usual, seemingly burdened by unspoken concerns. Martin sensed disjointed events converging through invisible threads. Seeking answers, Martin rummaged through the drawers of the old desk he had inherited, eventually finding a tattered notebook. Its worn pages bore despairing notes. Reaching the top isn't so grand when your friends watch you with hearts aflame with envy, and the day you overtake them, you'll witness a sudden betrayal. He shuddered. It seemed the previous occupant had lived a similar story, as though everyone who took this position discovered that their closest circle could become adversaries if they went too far. Martin recalled the ghostly messages flickering on screens. Could the spirit of the former occupant still linger digitally, or was someone using these words to unsettle him? Not long afterward, Martin was summoned by Catherine, the head of the department, who informed him of a serious report accusing him of manipulating previous contracts. He would face a formal investigation. Stunned, he recalled the ominous warnings. Don't surpass your threshold. Perhaps someone was striking precisely where it would hurt the most. In the corridor leading to the elevator, Jonah crossed paths with Martin and, in an almost detached tone, remarked, "I heard about what's happening. Be careful. Things can spiral out of control fast." When Martin asked if Jonah had any idea who might be framing him, he replied, "It might not be someone far away, maybe someone you trust." Martin stepped back, wondering if Jonah was covertly confessing or just delivering a grim warning. Then he caught sight of Oliver a few minutes later, but got only silence in response to his uneasy stare. Later that night, Martin decided to leave the office late. He stepped into the dimly lit elevator, and as soon as the door closed, the tiny display that normally showed the floor numbers displayed a chilling line. You're about to fall because the people around you don't want you to rise higher. He felt a cold sweat break out on his forehead. This was no glitch or fluke. Someone was tampering with the building's systems to deliver these unnerving messages. When the elevator reached the ground floor, the words vanished, leaving him in anger and dread. Enough. I'll uncover who's behind this, he vowed, realizing the trap had been set and his path was filled with either surrender or destruction. The next day came the official investigation. Just before it commenced, a document appeared, bearing Martin's signature and seemingly incriminating him. Eyes shifted doubtfully in his direction. This forged evidence looked disturbingly authentic. At this critical moment, Oliver approached the panel with firm conviction. This document is fabricated. That signature doesn't belong to Martin. I've spent nights studying archival records and found they originate from someone else who wanted to hide their own errors. I have solid proof. A tense hush fell. Martin glanced at Oliver with a mixture of gratitude and confusion. Why is he saving me now after keeping quiet for so long? Before the atmosphere could calm, Jonah burst in, accusing Oliver of hypocrisy. Stop pretending to be the hero. You're the one who encouraged me a month ago to gather past missteps to use against Martin if he went too far. Didn't you say he was climbing too fast and had to be stopped? The revelation shocked everyone. It was clear that Jonah and Oliver had conspired in secret to undermine Martin if he ever exceeded their expectations. But Oliver, apparently struck by guilt, changed sides at the last moment, revealing the truth to spare Martin from a wrongful downfall. Still, the most pressing question, who was manipulating the screens and sowing fear through the building, remained unanswered. Jonah and Oliver exchanged silent glances, yet neither admitted full responsibility. Perhaps they had done it together, or maybe a third party had exploited their rivalry all along. After being officially exonerated, Martin walked away from the hearing, feeling both relief and disillusion. The chasm between him and his two old friends was now glaring. It became apparent that some friends only cheer you on as long as you're not overshadowing them, while many others in the world remain merely spectators, indifferent to your triumph or failure. On his way out, he took the elevator for what felt like the final time. This trip brought no new threatening text. The display remained blank, reflecting only darkness. As the doors opened on the ground floor, he glimpsed his reflection in a small mirror by the wall. For an instant, it seemed to convey a faint echo of the same words that once haunted him, but rephrased. And why should you care if they cheer or rage? Your path doesn't require their applause. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them, he saw only his own reflection. Beneath a faint streetlight glistening on the wet pavement, Martin stepped out into the rain, a new sense of freedom coursing through him. No longer did he crave empty praise or fear envious gazes. He realized the ultimate truth. Some friends will support you only as long as you remain under their umbrella. The rest of the world may not care if you succeed or fail at all. Even so, he continued forward, because authenticity is tested not when we're at the bottom, but when we surpass the boundaries others set for us. Only then do we uncover who truly stands by us and who secretly waits for us to stumble. Moral of the story: test of light and shadows reveals that friendships can be conditional, with some allies cheering only until your success surpasses their comfort zone, a manifestation of upward social comparison where envy grows once you eclipse them. Simultaneously, much of society remains indifferent, illustrating the bystander effect as most people stay absorbed in their own affairs. unless directly impacted. Jonah and Oliver's betrayal underscores how envy festers and turns friends into adversaries, warning us that strong bonds may be fragile when pride and insecurity come into play. By discovering he does not require anyone's applause, Martin exemplifies the power of self-reliance and intrinsic motivation, finding resilience in inner growth rather than external praise. Most poignantly, the story highlights how true loyalty is tested not just by hardship, but by remarkable success. For it is at our highest peaks that hidden resentments or covert support emerge. In the end, we are called to discern who genuinely rejoices in our triumphs, and to remember that our self-worth should never hinge on outside approval. True freedom lies in embracing the path that belongs to us alone.